Hi everyone, this is Debbie Endries from Brainerd, Minnesota. I am an energy worker and an intuitive guide, and I'm here with Leslie tonight, and we're talking about listening to our wise selves. And I am just going to let the words flow, and Leslie's going to ask the questions, and it's going to be a fun evening of just exchange and thoughts. And so, Leslie, thank you for being here. I said earlier, you're not on camera, but there'll be a time when you'll sit next to me and you'll be on camera.
We'll see about that. But volley to me. So,
Uh-huh.
when people talk about listen to that inner self, sometimes you think the little devil's on one side, the little angel's on the other. What do you mean by when you say listen to your wise self?
I think that our wise selves, I think that we're all spiritual beings in a human body, and that spiritual part of us is the part of us that is creating new cells and having our hearts beat and creating this body that we're walking in, this suit, you always call it, isn't it?
The spacesuit.
The spacesuit that we have while we're on this planet. And so I think that our wise self is that inner spirit of divine, of universal, just the miracle of who we are, that keeps us going in this spacesuit that we are walking in our life. And I remember so clearly when my mom died, and one of my grandchildren went up to Grandma, and she looked up at me and she said, "Grandma, it's not Grandma anymore." And she knew Grandma was gone. It was her spacesuit that was left. It wasn't. It
Just
was
the physical shell.
Yep. And so when we are listening to our wise selves, we're listening to that deep, wonderful being that we were created in and are a part of this whole wonderful world that we're in. And I'm just excited to talk about how are we listening to this wise person that we are.
Well, tell me how you tune in and what do you do? Tell me how you tune into that.
Okay, how we tune into that is meditation is a big piece of it. But I think when we're walking through life and living our daily life, we get nudges, we get inklings, we get where we just know stuff, and it's important that we act on that. And it's just that quiet knowing that we have that spirit is guiding us, because there are times when we're listening to our brain and our brain is saying crazy stuff, or speaking for myself sometimes. And so we listen to that, and sometimes it can just be nonsense, but we have this repetitive thing that we're just getting so hung up on. And so then we start listening to our heart, and that heart energy is a really great guiding point for us. And I know, Leslie, you use your heart energy a lot with how you're being tuned into direction. Mm-hmm.
So when you do, but sometimes you talked about the head, you talked about the heart, there's chatter here, there's confusion there. How do you know which direction to go? How do you know what to do if there's like resistance or confusion?
When there's resistance or confusion, it's because there's not peace. When you don't have peace with something that's going on, that's the chatter. That's the confusion that's going on. And when we have to make a decision, it's important for us to quiet ourselves and to listen. Spirit is a two-way conversation, and we're very good. I'm very good about talking all the time, and so having that quiet meditation time and have it specifically for an issue that I'm wondering about or I want answers for, and to be able to have Spirit talk to me and get through to me in that conversation of my part of listening. And
how do you get there? How do you get to talking to spirit? Is that spirit? That's that inner self. Right?
Inner self.
That's when
yes.
you close your eyes. Who is that? Who is that happy thing inside of you? Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how do you get there if you've never been there?
How do you get there? You're still and quiet, and you ask and you listen, and ask for signs. I can be pretty direct with God in asking for signs, and I'll even say by 5 o'clock on Friday, or I want it in black and white. Sometimes I need the words, and so those are very specific things that I'll ask God in Spirit to give to me in order to have an answer to a question. And so,
can you give an example of that?
Well, there was a time, and I've got it in the room here. I was questioning if, because I love angels and I love sharing angel readings with people, and I was like, oh, do I put myself out there, and am I supposed to be talking about angels more? And I was at Goodwill and ran into my friend Nancy, and we hadn't seen each other in a year or so, and she goes, oh my goodness, I have something in my car for you. And I had told my angels I needed them to be clear to me, and I literally wanted it in black and white. And so she and I went out to her trunk of her car, and she opened it up, and there was a sign literally with the words in black and white, leave room in your garden for the angels to dance. And so that was my answer. It was like, my angels have my back, and if I can be bringing them up and sharing them in sessions with clients that can help them have clarity, that's a part of what I do with my clients then. But I see that Mary Beth is watching, and hi Mary Beth, I have your teacup here from Ireland. Hi Lorraine. With some angel readings, it's just like the cards come and it's like, what in the world does this mean? What in the world is going on with these? It's not making any sense to me. But then in the conversation of those, and then asking for signs and asking for clarity and then putting on a deadline, it's just like, okay. And we can spend hours up all night wondering and trying to figure it out, but then the answers will come.
So at times that you're uncertain or you're feeling this struggle between your head and your heart, you just ask your angels for a sign with a deadline, and you listen to how you feel and what
you pay attention. Your body will give you answers. Very clearly your body can give you answers. And if I'm looking off, sometimes it's because Spirit's coming through and I'm not always looking at you guys. I'm listening to Spirit. So if I'm swaying off camera, it's because I'm trying to listen to what they're telling me. Okay.
Well, that's good to know, because you look down a lot, and I can just see you're kind of okay.
Mm-hmm. So I completely forgot what the question was.
Well, so what we've talked about and what we've identified is that you're tuning in to this part of you. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for clarity. So what is it that stops us from moving forward or doing this or trusting this?
Fear, I think, is a big part of what keeps us from moving ahead. We're afraid of a lot of things. Afraid of, we don't know what the answer is going to be. We might not want to, we can conjecture, and our brain is very good about conjecturing all kinds of stories about what a situation could be, which could be totally out in left field. And so it's paying attention and listening. And I think with fear, we want to be able to control, and fear and control kind of go hand in hand together. And
it's like we have to hold tight to something to feel safe, but we need to let go, and then we don't feel safe.
Right, right. But there's just so much, and I do think if we know within us, we were created with this beautiful spirit that's part of God and part of this beautiful universe and a part of just the miracle that we are on this planet. And if we can start believing in ourselves and believing in the beautiful gift and the preciousness that we are as people here on the planet right now, it's like, oh my goodness, let go of the fear then and jump ahead. And when we make a mistake, it's okay, we can make a mistake, and we'll make another one, and we'll make that one better, and then we'll make another one, and it'll be even better, and we'll just get these practicing moments. And fear just robs us of so much life. And so if we can recognize the fear, never tamp the fear down. Tamping fear, tamping anger, jealousy, all of that, it's something we need to acknowledge, and we need to feel it and recognize it and say, all right, I'm here with you. You're a part of who I am, and it's okay. I am letting you sit off to the side now, and I'm going to move ahead, and I'm going to try this. And usually in those fear-filled moments when we're brave enough to jump ahead, those are the most amazing moments that we have in our life. And it's always teaching us something. And maybe in that moment, it's teaching us, my gosh, how brave am I? And I am learning something from this that I never dreamt I would ever be able to know. And so letting go of fear. Fear is a big thing that can ride on our shoulder, but it doesn't have to weigh us down. Another thing, we wonder what people think of us or what we should be doing. And those are, hopefully when we get older and wiser, and younger people growing up will not be so afraid of what other people think of us and put so much value in what they think of us rather than being true to ourselves. And so I think that that's really, really important. And partly too, when we have situations that come up, we have these pattern responses that we automatically respond to. And it's just a knee-jerk reaction, and it's like, oh crap, I did it again. And that's a practicing moment. And so the next time it happens, we can maybe step back and observe and go, no, not going there, not doing that. So our pattern behaviors are really difficult for us to break, but our spirit is always our champion in cheering us on and encouraging us. And we can do this. We are strong enough to do this. And sometimes too, with our heart energy listening, one of the things that I do, and I find it helpful, is I stand and I face north like a compass, and I'm pointing north here, and I put my hands on my heart, and whatever the situation might be, and I'll say, for my good and the highest good of all, is it best that I da 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 da. And if I lean forward, the answer is yes. If I lean back, the answer is no. If nothing happens, it's like, just wait. You don't have to hurry up and make a decision right away. And I have found that to be really helpful for me. I remember a number of years ago, I was asked to officiate at a wedding, and I was having a big surgery, and I was really nervous if I was even going to be able to officiate with it. And so I had just gone into quiet time, hands on heart, face north, and just said, God, for my good and the highest good of all, is this something that I should be doing in officiating this wedding? And my body just a whole big step forward, and it was like, okay, I know I'm going to get through this surgery fine. I know that I'm going to have the strength to be able to do what I need to do for that. And it was an answer for me. So it's fun to play with spirit and do some different things in asking, because you will always get answers, and it might not always be the answers you want either.
Well, and that's the next question, because the previous question was, how do you tune into that spirit? And you just did a really nice recap of your protocol of getting grounded and centered and hard and asking the question. And so basically you use your body as a barometer of response. And that something that everybody can do? Because what if I ask and ask and ask and listen and don't feel like I know what I'm getting there?
And we all have times when we're asking for things, and we're asking and we're not getting answers, and sometimes it's because we aren't hearing, and it's time for us to not jump into anything. Sometimes when we don't know what to do, it's better to pause. Pausing is healthy sometimes to do, but then it's important to pay attention to how long the pause is. How many weeks, how many months is this pause going on?
So pausing is different than indecision. Okay.
But we pause because we don't know. In that, if you continually are getting this urge, okay, I need to do it, I need to do it, I need to do it, and you're arguing with Spirit, God, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do it. All right, and I've done this before too. Okay, God, I'll do this. I'll show you. And it ends up being, every door is opening, even though it's scarier than heck. It don't feel qualified for something, or who am I to even consider doing this? But when you are being guided and directed, God is totally supporting us. Spirit is always there for us. Our angels, our guides have our back, and we just need to trust in that divine part of ourselves that is created so beautifully, that this is really something we're needing to do, and it's usually something for enhancing our life, but also bringing more to our planet, and something that we're able to give to others. I think that's important. I think that's a big reason why we're on the planet. We're not here all for ourselves. We're here for each other. So, let's see. Another thing that is fun, and I had done this with a group a while back, was having a GPS. We're asking God, we're asking for direction, and so it's like putting something into a GPS. Okay, this is what I want, Spirit. This is what I'm wondering about, and so you put it into the GPS system. And a friend of mine, Cindy, who was here with our last talk, she had called it the God-powered system. And when we plug in an address, it will take us all kinds of ways. And we're just trusting we're going to get there. And so when we're asking, then we can just let it go and do what we need to do. And if we're not paddling upstream and going crazy and just allowing things to float, like Cynthia says, without an oar, just go for it. Let's keep life simple. Let's allow those things to unfold. Let's trust and believe that we have this, and we're supported in doing it. So if I'm rambling, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm rambling.
No, very interesting. We're at about 20 minutes,
Okay.
So do I have time for one more question?
Yes, one more question, and then we'll wind up.
Okay, so I feel like tonight that I do have a little bit of concrete stuff to tune in. But are you supposed to look back, or are you supposed to look forward when you're looking at benefits?
Okay, I think with life, I think it's really important for us, especially just to live life fully, is to be in the present moment. I think that is so important for us to do. But I also believe that in looking back at our hard times, we can see people who are struggling through hard times. And because we've done it, we have that compassion. We have that understanding. We have that love for them because of the things that we have gone through. And so in that way, I think it benefits us to look back and see through the hard stuff that we've gone through. And we all will go through things. Life is always going to be challenging us to grow and be more of who we are. And so, yes, it's fine to look back, but then look at the grace and the blessings of it, and then be in the present moment and know that more is coming up for us, and we do the best that we can with it. So I think with that, thank you all for watching. I am, besides an energy worker, an intuitive guide, and so if people are wanting to come in and just process through a situation with me, it's $55 for a session, and it's just sometimes nice to go through things that you're not needing to share with family or go into stuff with friends. I had a gal here this past week, and I knew her story, and I'm the only one that knows her story, and she said, I just need to share because you get it. And so that's a big thing about being here for you if you need me. So I appreciate it. And if you want to go on YouTube with Debbie Andrews, I am just starting a channel there, and you can subscribe there, and I'll upload some other videos every once in a while. And so with that, I'm looking forward to next week, and we'll have a great topic. I'm not quite sure. It was like, okay, God, tell me what I'm supposed to talk about. So we will see you next week at 7:30. Thank you, Leslie, for being behind the camera. And may the blessings be. Thank you for watching. Good night.